The purpose of this video is to help you register your Termageddon account, accept an invitation to access a license, and generate your website policies. So let's go ahead and get started. So first and foremost, if you're watching this video, that is most likely because someone shared a Termageddon license with you. So the first thing you need to do is you need to go to your email inbox and search Termageddon. And sure enough, here's the invite. The title of the email is "You've been invited to join Termageddon." And today we're doing a setup for a fake company called ABC Services. Your license most likely is named after your business. And to get started, what you need to simply do is set your Termageddon password. And here you want to register your account. And you can list your web developer here or whoever shared the license with you. And upon registering, you'll see a big purple View License invite. So simply click that and click Accept, and you now have access to your license. Now, you may have been asked to go through the questionnaire so that you can generate website policies. If that is the case, what you need to do is click Continue Setup, which is located under License Status, and then answer a series of global questions about your business. So is this for a website? Most likely is for your website, and that you have a company that owns it. So I'm filling it out under a fake company name, and I'll say that it was the business was formed in Illinois and is an LLC. And where would you like to resolve disputes? Most people put the state and county, and that's most convenient for them, typically where they're located, because this just is what brings people to your turf rather than you having to go to theirs if there's some sort of dispute. What is the email that users can use to contact you? I like to put generic emails in here. Just make sure you have access to them. But I will note that this email does get disclosed within your website policies as it's required under multiple privacy laws. Okay, we've answered the global license information. You can always go back to that page by clicking this purple edit button. And for this fictitious company we've created, abcservices.com, we're going to assume that this website has a contact form, newsletter sign up, Google Analytics installed, and runs search engine and or social media ads. Now, you may not be sure if you run Google Analytics on your website. I would go ahead and fill this out assuming you do. But maybe ask your web developer to confirm that fact. Google Analytics is free, and it provides you insights into how your website's performing. Now, since a contact form asks for things like name and email, which are defined as personally identifiable information, we will want to add a privacy policy. So click the gray Add Policy box, and you'll get a pop-up, and that's where you can add your privacy policy. Now, I'm going to fill out this first page to be forced into complying with a multitude of privacy laws. You, with your business, may not do business in all the places I'm going to be selecting yes to. And if that's the case, I do want to note when you go to the next page and all future pages, you might have far less questions to answer because you have to comply with less privacy laws. So just make sure to fill this out on how you run your business, as you may end up having far less questions than what this video will show you. So the first page is a series of questions to figure out what privacy laws your business needs to comply with. And the first question is, what states do you do business in? I'm going to select all because, well, let's say this fictitious company services anyone in the US, Canada, and Europe. So does the website potentially collect the personal information of residents of any of the below states? I'm going to select all again because my services are open to basically anyone. So I want to select yes in case I do process their information. Do you have annual gross revenues of more than 25 million? I'll say no to. Do you annually buy, receive, sell, or share the personal information of 50,000 or more California consumers? I'm going to say no to. Do you derive 50% or more of your annual revenue from selling this personal information? No. And do your vendors or clients require you to comply with the California Consumer Privacy Act? This is most likely no. It's no for almost all of our users. Do you offer goods or services to residents of the European Union? Technically, yes, I could. Great. Do you monitor the behavior of residents of the European Union? Yes, because I have Google Analytics, anyone from Europe visiting my site, I may be tracking them through analytics, so I'll say yes to that. Do you offer goods or services to residents of the United Kingdom? I'll say yes to that. And do you monitor the behavior of residents of the United Kingdom? I'll say yes yet again because I may have I have Google Analytics installed into the website. Do you collect the personal information of Canadians? I'm going to say yes to. And just a high level, what this means is I'm going to have to comply with a lot of privacy laws. So the rest of this questionnaire will be rather intense. If you have a less intense questionnaire after this first page, that just means you have less privacy laws to comply with and therefore less disclosures to make. All right, so I click next. I'm on the next page, which is all about figuring out the pieces of personal information my website collects. And because I have a contact form that asks for name and email, I'm going to select name here. And I'm going to select email as well. I also have a newsletter sign up where I ask people to submit their email. So I have email already selected, which is great. And I run Google Analytics, which means that my website collects IP address. And scroll all the way down, almost all the way down. Google Analytics, you'll also want to select that you may collect information regarding your interactions with the website. So this just lets consumers know, hey, when you're visiting my website, I might be monitoring you. All right, and then last but not least, because we run search engine and social media ads, I'd also recommend we we may collect information regarding your interactions with advertisements. A lot of companies say, hey, I might do this in the near future, and okay, then you can just select yes now just to get in front of it. Otherwise, you can come back to your privacy policy questionnaire and update this in the future at no additional charge. The moment you update the questionnaire is when we can push updates to your policy pages with the new disclosures. Okay, so now that we have all the pieces of personal information the website's collecting, because we addressed the fact that the website, which most websites they have a contact form, they usually have analytics, and they usually plan to or currently run social media or search engine ads. This covers the vast majority of our users. If you have an e-commerce website, you may need to disclose other pieces of information, like you collect billing address, phone number, shipping address if you're shipping product. But for the most part, what I've selected is what most customers use. Now, we have to, on a per item basis, discuss a bunch of stuff about the information we collect about people. And we're going to start off with name, okay? So what's the purpose for why we ask people to submit their name on contact forms? Well, that's so that we can perform services and provide customer service. It also may be there. We also may collect names so we can provide people with email marketing and advertising. And we may ask people to participate in surveys or contests. We also may collect name to enforce our terms of service and verify customer information. These two are more so of catch-alls. Enforcing our terms of service, an example would be that, if someone's abusing your website in any way, you may address them by their name to enforce your terms of service. And then verifying customer information may be that someone uses your contact form on your website but is already a customer, but they're reaching out nonetheless through your contact form. Technically, you'd be using that information to verify the customer's information. So when we click next, we're going to go to sources of information. How do you collect name? Well, this is information submitted by the consumer, meaning that someone had to take the time to submit their name to you. So that is how you collected it. What's the legal basis under which you process this information? The user has provided consent to the processing of their information, meaning that they took the time to fill out that questionnaire and provide the answers to you, which is a form of consent. Now, do you share this information with third parties? I would answer yes to this, because most of the time when a contact form is submitted through a website, usually that website then triggers an email that's sent to your email inbox. If that is the case, you will want to say that you share this data with email service providers to manage interactions with you. This is a good example of when a website contact form gets submitted and you receive an email with all the submitter's contact pieces of data. You want to disclose the fact that you've shared it with the email service providers. And because we said that we may add people to email marketing newsletters, we will say that we may share name with email marketing vendors to market to people via email. And if you have a website that's like a WordPress website, which is a content management system, very often contact forms get stored in the back end of websites. This is for backup purposes and so forth. So I would, and because WordPress and most other web building platforms are content management systems, I would select content management system and that we collect that information to manage our interactions with them. Now, you may have a customer management system, or you may not. Perhaps you're paying HubSpot or Salesforce or Zoho or many of the others, countless CRMs. But anyways, if you are, just select customer management system to manage our interactions with you. But I'm going to say no because most of our customers don't. And most likely you've hired a contractor to work on your website. If that's the case, you will want to say that you may share this data with parties that need to operate the website, because technically a third party accessing your website to manage your website may see the contact information stored in the back end. So I like to say that we may share this data with parties that need to operate the website, and that we may share this data with hosting providers to manage our interactions with them. So a good example of this is that, a website gets hacked or something like that. You may ask your hosting provider to log in and perform some sort of update where technically the hosting provider could potentially see that data. So I just like to have it disclosed. All right, now that we've answered all the places with where we share data with, we're going to complete that piece of information, and that's going to bring us down to the next stage. But I'd actually recommend let's go ahead and edit the email address. See email address here. And I'm going to copy all of our answers that we selected for name. This will make things very easy because it pre-answers everything. And most of the time people are collecting email and sharing email the exact same way they're doing it with name as well, making our lives very easy. Upon completing that piece of information, we get brought to the next section, which is IP address. Now, we're collecting that for Google Analytics purposes, but regardless, most contact forms, when they get submitted, the contact form functionality will grab the IP address behind the scenes to do a number of things, but mostly just to verify it's a legitimate submitter. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to load up all the answers for name, because the contact form is already collecting all that stuff. And so you're collecting it still for the purposes of providing services and customer service. But we're going to add the fact that we may also collect IP address for the purposes of analytics to address Google Analytics. We may collect it for the purposes of counting ad impressions, as well as verifying position and quality of ad impressions. And then we will also want to select that we may collect IP address for protecting against malicious, deceptive, fraudulent, or illegal activity. And this is typically what I see most people fill out, how I see most people fill out this form. Now, what's the source of the information? This is not information submitted by the consumer. Rather, it's collected through tracking pixels and the use of cookies. No one takes the time to fill out their IP address on a contact form. No, it's collected behind the scenes, and that's why we have this selected. Now, what's the legal basis under which you process the information? The users provided consent to the processing of their information. And do you share this data with third parties? We've already listed all the places that we potentially could share it with because of the contact form connection. But I'm also going to add that we may share this with data analytics providers to provide people with advertisements. That covers your Google Analytics. I'm going to also select advertising networks to provide you with advertisements. And I'm going to scroll all the way down and click social networks to provide you with advertisements, just in case you are currently or plan to run search engine or social media ads. You may want to disclose the fact that you share IP with them. And that answers that. So I'm going to now complete that piece of information, which brings me down to why do we collect information regarding your interactions with our website. I'm going to load up all the answers we did for IP address. And then I'm going to click down to why do we collect information regarding your interactions with advertisements. And I'm going to load up all the answers we did for IP address. So being able to copy and load up answers is really important. It can save you a lot of time. So, all right. So upon completing that piece of information, I do want to. We are now in the final stages of the questionnaire, which are a series of questions that are requested because of disclosure requirements under each privacy law you're seeking to comply with. And the first question is, do you collect and use cookies? And we're going to answer yes to this. And we do give a notice here, because I needed to comply with so many privacy laws, it does recommend that I add a cookie consent solution to my website. We offer some links to some free ones online. They have free options, I should say. There's also lots of like WordPress plugins that are free within the WordPress repository. If you're looking for more free options, you can always email Hans@Termageddon.com, HANS@Termageddon.com. But these three are great examples of some really good cookie consent solutions. Do you knowingly target children under the age of 18? Most companies are not targeting children. Do you sell any of the information that you collected? Most people say no. How long do you store the information provided? Most people say until we no longer need the information to contact you or after you unsubscribe from emails. Do you use the information for direct marketing? Yes, because of the email marketing. Do you use the information you collected for automated decision making? No. And I will note each question has a question mark where you can click on it and read an article where we disclose what this question means. We do that for just about every question we ask. If you answer yes to this particular question, you have to provide the logic involved in your automated decision making. However, this is most likely no. This is most of our customers select no for this question because they're not doing automated decision making. Do you use the information you collected for profiling? Most customers are not profiling people. How do you protect the personal information you collect? So I'm going to select the most popular answers to this question. This is the one question where I personally like under-promising and over-delivering because whatever I select here will be disclosed within my website privacy policy. So I want to make sure that I 100% am doing whatever I say I'm doing. And I don't want to select something I think I might do in the future. Like, I really want to select just what exactly I'm doing right now currently. So I selected the most popular answers, limiting the amount of personal information that we collect to strictly necessarily only, using an SSL certificate, and towards the bottom, maintaining up-to-date software and safeguards. Would you like to include links to your policies, procedures, standards, or codes within your privacy policy? Most people say no. Do you use Google Analytics? We're going to say yes because we have a Google Analytics installed. Does your website contain links to third-party sites? Yes. Social media links, maybe resources you offer, but most people say yes there. Does the website respond to do not track signals? Most people have never heard of do not track signals and therefore have not implemented it into their website. So if you've never heard of do not track signals, chances are you should be going with our recommended answer, which is no. Now, the next three questions are all based around a fundamental theme, which is, do you want to offer privacy rights to people that actually have those rights or to anyone that visits your website regardless of their location? And if I so may, I recommend giving everyone equal rights because this sends a great message within your privacy policy where you're saying you want to treat people equally. And I think in general, treating people equally is a good business strategy. But in addition to that, it actually makes your life easier as a business owner because if someone were to inquire to exercise their rights, you don't have to figure out what part of the world they're from and what privacy rights they have. Rather, you can just be a good person and delete their data if they request it. Now, what information would the consumer need to provide to verify their identity for a request to exercise their rights? Most people say if you can provide a name and email address, that's enough to say you are who you say you are. How will you notify users of changes to this privacy policy? I'd go with our most popular answer, which is by posting the updated privacy policy to this website. Who should the user contact to request access to, amendments to, or deletion of their data? Most people put in whatever email they listed earlier. Where do you process the data? I'm located in Illinois, so I'm putting Illinois. Have I employed a data protection officer? No. Do you intend to transfer data outside of Canada? I'm going to answer yes to the United States. And what I mean by this is that since someone is going to be potentially submitting data while in Canada on my website, I'm technically taking that data from Canada into the United States. So I'm going to list United States here. Who is accountable for your privacy practices and policies? This is the final question. If you're seeing this question, that is because it is a requirement under PIPETA, Canada's privacy law. And most people put, the president's name or the website owner's name and contact information. So, upon clicking to submit, you have now generated your privacy policy, and you can notify the person who shared the license with you that your privacy policy is ready to go. You can click the Users tab and quickly see who is the person that shared the license with you, so you can copy this email and send them back an email just letting them know you set up your website policies. Thank you so much for watching this video, and please know that I'm an email away if you do have any questions. My email is Hans, H-A-N-S, at Termageddon.com. This one's Donata. Donata's the president of Termageddon. You can reach out to Donata as well. Or if you like my voice and you want to chat with me, Hans at Termageddon.com is also good. Thank you all very much.